on, guys? It's Ricky from Volnay Capital. We are here for another Volnay Live. I could not be more excited for our guest tonight. We have Jean Stoffer of Stoffer Designs, and she is one of the best. So much inspiration from her page. She does designs that I wish we could be doing and that we do not have, we get too scared to actually do in our projects. So I'm extremely excited to talk to her tonight, learn about her story, and, kind of just talk through all aspects of the design choices that she makes, as well as her cabinet brand. So she just joined in, so let's get her on here.
Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing all right, as best we can during this COVID quarantine.
Yeah, everyone's getting very familiar with your bedroom.
We've tried to change venues a couple times over the past month or so. I forgot to make the bed.
Details.
So how's everything with you?
It's good. Thanks.
Yeah, so we are extremely excited to have you on. We've been huge fans now for years, and I think it's we're so excited to have you. I know we've gotten hundreds of questions today already.
Oh, wow.
So we'll get to those at the end. So
Okay.
everybody who's watching, please use the question option on Instagram. You can also send them over in the comments. We'll be collecting all the questions, and then we'll try to get to them at the end. So we'll start out, but I just want to hear, tell me about yourself and the design history and when you get started and, how did it all start?
Well, it's a story that I think maybe is familiar to more people than not. I got a business degree and sold real estate for a year as a 22-year-old, and then got a job as an admin at an interior design firm, doing all the business end of things. And it was a new world to me. It opened up ideas that I didn't even know about. Interior design was not something that was part of my family's history. And I just loved what these women were doing and was fascinated by it. And they were so kind to me and kind of took me under their wing, gave me a couple ideas of things that I could do to learn skills at a junior college, like drafting,
Mm-hmm.
which I did. And then after working for them for a couple of years, one of my mother's friends called me and asked if I would help with her project. And I did on my own. I was as shocked as anyone that it turned out as well as it did. And I kind of went from there. And the way I started specializing in kitchens is that the more kids I had, the harder it was to do interior design work. Back in that day, it meant going to find everything. There was nothing online. So I learned that if I could just draw and design kitchens, custom kitchens, I could stay home with my kids. And so that's what I did all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And I got more and more kitchen clients as people found out that that's what I did. And it just became a specialty, and it has been ever since.
Awesome. So how did it pivot? So back when you were starting, were you actually making the cabinets, or were you just designing them and then providing it to a builder?
I was designing the cabinetry, and then I went about finding a cabinet shop that would actually build, back then, a flush inset cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard to find.
Yeah.
And I eventually found one in farmland and, rural Midwest.
Yeah.
It was a three-man shop at the time. And he and his shop, who now there's 50 people, have been doing all of my cabinetry ever since. And now we're pretty much partners as far as I design, he builds, and it works out beautifully. And he has done such a fantastic job for me and has really went out of his way to find better ways of doing things, new technology, better finished materials, finished techniques. And so now he's also the one that's fabricating the whole Stoffer Home Cabinetry line that we
Right.
launched last year.
Right. So yeah. So tell me now about what are all the hats that you wear in the business, and what are all the pillars of the business, and how's it grown?
Well, the pillars of the business are the full service interior design with kitchen specialty. And then there's is that a beer?
Cheers.
That looks really good. I should have had something like that. So full service interior design and uh, custom kitchen design. We do separate jobs like that. We opened a brick and mortar store last year that has home decor and a kitchen display and shows some interior design ideas. That store went online, Stoffer Home. And then also last year we launched Stoffer Home Cabinetry, which is direct to the end user, custom flush inset cabinetry, English inspired design.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as far as the hats I wear, I I mean, we don't have a very large team, but I have direct contact with everyone on the team. We have a couple of designers, my daughter Grace and another woman who do really great interior design. I have a fabulous kitchen designer that I've been working with for many years that we collaborate on projects all the time. A girl running the shop and inventory, and then an admin. Um, so I kind of, shift around to all of them, and I still do a lot of design work myself.
So
Most of the kitchen,
let's
yeah.
talk about the line that's available for the public. That's still, so is it, how does that process work? Run me through. I bought a house. I want to order your cabinetry. How does that happen?
Well, cabinetry is something that you need a designer, in my opinion, to make it look completely custom designed. So we knew that it would be impossible to have just offer cabinetry without offering design, because it's the appliance integration and the reveals and how far do you need to be off a corner, and all these things are so specialized, and it's an expensive mistake when you don't get it right. So you need someone that knows what they're doing, who's experienced, that knows how to look out for certain appliance variations so the doors can open properly and all this kind of thing. So we have a process where we give people a ballpark figure as to what their kitchen cabinetry would cost using Stoffer Home Cabinetry. And that's based on how many feet of cabinetry there are in the space.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have to know that general thing before we can give them a ballpark. If the ballpark looks good to them, and we've answered all of their other questions, then they sign up. And what that means is they send us a $1,500 design fee, which is applicable towards a cabinetry purchase.
Yeah.
And that sets the whole thing in motion of us designing their cabinetry exactly to their space, according to their wish list of items and the appliances that they want to have in the space and the things that they feel like they need to make it beautiful, then, or function for them. And then it's our job to make it beautiful using the cabinetry that's in our line.
Right.
And then we send them a quote for what it is. Sometimes that needs to be cost engineered, but then when it's where they need it, we place the order, they place the order, then we order it, and it gets delivered to their home blanket wrapped by people from our shop.
Oh, awesome. And then install on them, or on you, do you guys
install on them?
On them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is awesome. I actually posted today that I was going to be interviewing you, and a developer in Boston, On Point Development.
Yeah.
They immediately called me and they're like, "Best cabinets, love her." And I had, we do hundreds of kitchens a year, and I had never even known that your cabinets were an option. So, this is, I'm excited to, possibly try them out in one of our designs.
Well, how exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, On Point, it was our first, I would say, commercial order. And they do beautiful work in Boston, and they sent an order for 4 units, and got them right before the shutdown.
Yeah. No, I think that's a whole nother business for you. I mean, I think looking at your designs, we'll get into that now, but I think something that really, when you're looking through the designs that you do for kitchens, it's bold, but it fits with everybody, right? I think that's the hardest thing. It's where I struggle with is going bold, but having it relatable and warm and something that everyone wants to be around and they could sell to the masses, but still have this bold look. And I think you somehow hit that on the head every time. So let's talk about your overall design style, and has it changed over the years? And what would you say your kitchen design style is?
I would say it's very much influenced by British kitchen design, and I
Mm-hmm.
have always loved it. It's what made me want to seek out a person that would build flush and set cabinetry way back in the day, almost 30 years ago. And it's something I've held true to for quite a while. And I look at kitchens that we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and they still look very current.
Yeah.
I would wander into some areas of design that probably should be changed now for the people that, I wandered into a little bit of French country, lots of little
Mm-hmm.
carvings and stuff for a little while, and um, that's.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I would say sticking with that British kind of inspired, just clean lines, not too complicated, things that, and actually a lot of my influence too, or, inspiration, I guess I would say, is finding butlers' pantries in homes from like the 20s and 30s. And those still look good. Those still look absolutely perfect and design, and it's just a restrained, clean line that's serviceable but elegant.
Mm-hmm. Nice. How about, so there's a lot of trends going on right now in the world of kitchens. What trends do you see that you're in love with and that you're integrating into your kitchens? And then what are trends that you think people should stay away from when they're working on their own, kitchen renovations or doing a flip or their own project?
Hmm. Well, in interior design, I've seen this movement that they're calling different things, but the word grandma or granny is in it a lot, like granny chic or something like that, where, and I think what it is a reaction to ultra modern maybe,
Hmm.
or huge white spaces that don't have a lot of interest in them, or I shouldn't say interest, doesn't have a lot of detail in them.
Right.
And I think this trend is trying to maybe put some vintage pieces in and put some pattern in and put some um, old kind of quirky maybe things into the mix. But as it relates to kitchens, maybe that's why people are more okay with color now,
Hmm.
because it feels warm and it feels inviting and it feels like maybe old school a little bit, like you would bake pie in there and serve it to somebody and it would feel all cozy, you
Yeah.
know. So I think color is definitely a trend. I think it's a reaction to all white. That
Hmm.
was a trend for so long. It shocked me actually how long that lasted.
Yeah.
The all white, the gray kind of came at the tail end of the white and came in hard and strong. And I think it was maybe a little too much for people. And so now they're wanting to incorporate some color into things. I
So,
embrace that. I love
yeah.
that.
So let's talk color. Let's talk kitchen colors. So
Hmm.
what colors are you using? What colors have you used? I mean, if anyone, make sure you guys after this interview go scroll through her Instagram, look at all the years of color that is just so inspiring. But talk to me about the colors you're using now and, stuff that you are going to start using into the next year.
Well, I have always loved taupe, green, and blue. Just love them. I love taupe because I feel like it's a color that's going to endure. Because beige is here and gray is here and taupe is right in the middle. And so that pendulum always swings, beige, gray, and taupe is just a beautiful mixture of those colors that I feel is enduring. So I know in our Stoffer Home Cabinetry line, we have three taupes. And one is, they're all one, they're just great. And then we have a lot of greens and a lot of blues and a few greens. And I just feel like they feel so natural. They feel like our eyes understand those and feel calm around them. They're very, I don't know, maybe because of nature. They're
Yeah.
so prevalent in nature that in all shades, and it just feels good. It feels good to be around those colors.
So how about personally in our projects, we've done some really cool greens and grayish greens and blues, and
Yeah.
but we always just do them on the base. And we've never pulled the trigger and gone, and we've always kept the white upper cabinets, and we do it on the base cabinets, and it's worked well. The kitchens are beautiful, but now we have a couple kitchens coming up where we're going all black. We're planning on maybe some all navy. How do you do that in a way that it doesn't make the space seem dark or, make the space seem smaller?
Well, you'll probably notice in a lot of our designs that we don't use a lot of upper cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
We take advantage of windows and ways that are open to other rooms. And so the walls that we have left over are reserved for appliances usually.
Mm-hmm.
So in a few instances, we do have upper cabinets with colors, but we don't often.
Huh.
Our famous green kitchen has a beautiful wall of green cabinetry
Yes.
on the walls. And you'll notice a big part of that wall has a glass front on the cabinetry. So it creates a depth and an interest and changes up the texture, and you can see what's inside. So it takes a little bit of the, oh my gosh, there's a lot of green on that wall, away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everyone who's watching, we'll do another post later tonight. We'll grab a bunch of these inspirational kitchen designs, and we'll do a post that kind of runs through all the different ones. But so let's so guys, keep sending in questions. We've got probably like 30 or 40. We're gonna play a little game now. So it's called This or That.
okay, great.
Some of them you've already answered, so I'm gonna have to cross these out.
Okay.
But so first one. This one still works. Farm sinks or undermount sinks?
Because I love them both. But I'm going to go with farm because I have it in my own home and I just love it.
Okay. How about, does it matter the kitchen design when choosing to put in a farm sink?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So then it needs, yeah.
And something that we're doing now that is so interesting, it's like a hybrid between the two. And over at our shop, our display kitchen has a faux farm sink. So we put because a lot of people want a stainless sink, but they also want it to look like a farm sink. But I don't like the look of a stainless farm sink, personally.
Okay. Yeah.
So we do an undermounted stainless sink, and then we have a cutout in the front of the cabinet to put a slab of stone. So it looks like a stone apron front sink, but it's not.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, there's some really cool stone farm sinks coming out now too, which I don't know if you've incorporated any of them, but we've
Yeah,
seen
and
some great.
stone are really cool, but a lot of people don't want a stone sink.
Right.
They want, something that's going to be a little easier on their dishes and glasses in case something happens.
That's incredible.
So it's just a really great in between there.
That's awesome. We already answered this one. I was going to say cabinet colors, one or two. You're one color. Next one up.
Oh,
Quartz.
well, actually,
Okay.
almost all the time we'll do two,
Oh.
but we'll put one on an island
Oh,
and then one
okay.
on a different one on the perimeter.
All right, so let's talk about that then. So yeah, the question was cabinets, one color or two colors? So you're, yeah.
Very, very often we have two in one kitchen. Very
Okay.
often.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So your island. So yeah, let's talk about island colors.
Yeah.
Is that where you bring the white and the taupe in with a color on the walls?
That's often where we bring a wood finish in.
Okay.
And part of that is that we feel like we find that it's from my own kitchen. I have it all one here, but um, we find that the island gets so much use. And if people are sitting at it, their little feet, they're going to be kicking it probably, which means black soles on it. And so we we like to find the most durable finish possible that can be the easiest to keep clean and look good all the time. And often it's a natural wood finish. So we do a lot of that.
Hmm. Do you recommend that someone pulls the same cabinets from the kitchen into the bathrooms when they're doing a full house project?
No.
Keep it
We
separate.
we like designing unique spaces in every for the whole house.
Okay. Next one we have is, so let's get into countertops. Quartz or natural stone?
Natural stone.
Okay.
And all of its patina.
Which stones are you using?
I love quartzite.
Yeah.
I
Who doesn't?
love I love leathered granite that's I love a textured granite, whether it's dark or light, I don't care. I love it all.
Black leathered
Oh
granite.
my gosh, I love it.
Beautiful, yeah.
And then I love Carrera. I know it patinas, I know it etches, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can almost just embrace it. Embrace the aging of it.
Absolutely.
Um, Next one up, beams or coffered ceiling?
Beams. No question.
I knew that one was coming. So
That's a good question, though. I like that one.
it's a good, but your designs, I mean, the beams are incredible. Talk to me about the using of beams throughout a house and design. Are these actual structural beams? Are these you're just installing beams to look as a design feature? Talk beams.
Well, often one of the beams is structural because we've either taken down a wall or we need to hide a pipe or something. One of them is usually structural. So then I use that beam and go off from there to do a beam design for the rest of the space.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're using beams that are reclaimed, then the contractor has to like hollow out the one beam that covers that, and then the others can be solid, or if it's a weight problem, he'll hollow out all of them. Um, and it really depends on the style of the house and the kitchen, what the beam actually looks like. Like this big project that I'm working on right now, the Madison, this big spec project of a historic home. We're doing the beams in a made out of millwork, and we're painting them. But in a house like mine here, the beams are, reclaimed wood because that's right for this space.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the house.
But try to use beams. If someone has a design and they're considering going with beams, what about ceiling height? Because I've seen beams where someone will try to put beams into a space where the ceilings are not high enough and it just doesn't look right. So what do you recommend from a design standpoint of ceiling height if you're going to consider installing beams?
Yeah, we have done beams in ceilings as low as 8 feet tall.
Okay. Do you keep them smaller or?
Yes, yeah. So they have to be proportionate then. And in that case, I think the beam was something like 3.5 inches tall only.
Yeah.
But that fifth wall, the ceiling, it's really nice if there's some attention paid to it. It feels like you finished the space.
Yeah.
So I think the ceiling is really important.
So let's talk just while we're on the subject, because we've had these interviews going on the past month and we've had a bunch of designers and everyone keeps talking ceiling, and I know you're bringing up beams. What other ideas do you have for ceilings as the fifth wall to really finish off a space?
Well, we can plank it. Like we're working on a project in Detroit right now. Well, no one's working in Detroit right now,
Yeah,
but
no one's working anywhere.
there's a project going on in Detroit right now where we're going to plank the ceiling with tongue and groove. And it's the perfect thing for that project. Um, in other rooms besides kitchens, we'll even do something as simple as putting a really pretty, plaster medallion around where the light fixture gets installed.
Yeah.
Um, or just an applied molding around the perimeter of the
Hmm.
ceiling, just
Yeah.
inside from the crown a little bit.
Yeah, we've been hearing, we've heard those, not those are the first some of those, but we've heard the painting it a different color, so like a going with a like a light, like a blue or a green or a black on the ceiling. We've
Mm.
heard also wallpapering a ceiling,
Yeah.
which that is, I don't even, maybe I'll catch
Well,
up on.
my daughter wanted to wallpaper a ceiling, and it was a directional wallpaper. And I was like, I can't do that because like which way do you look at it? It's gonna one way is gonna look wrong. But we love in the other rooms besides the kitchen, we love painting the ceiling the same color as the walls if we're doing a nice deep color and just like enveloping the room in that color.
Right, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Um, Here's one for you:
Okay.
two large pendants or four small pendants?
I love going big or going home. I do.
Yeah, I agree. How about the decision between four or so two or three? Because I've seen, I'm always two or four. I just don't
Okay.
agree with the look of three. But talk about that decision.
We do a lot of three, we do a lot of two. And I think it really depends on what is going on in the room and what you're lining the pendants up with and or how big they are. You know, if I'm lining the island, say, up with a table and the table has one, then I'm going to want to put two on the island so that I'm not like lined up exactly with a middle and a middle.
Mhm.
Um, I I think there's just so many things to think about, and sometimes there's just one thing that just looks right.
How about spacing? Or is there any certain rule that you follow, like how far in from the edge of the island on as a minimum spacing, and then about spacing between the pendants that works best?
Yeah, okay, let's say we're doing two over an
Mhm.
island. I like dividing the island in by six
Yeah,
and bringing the pendant in at least 1/6.
yeah,
But sometimes that leaves it really then depends on the size of the pendant. So we might bring the pendant in 1/5 of the
yeah.
way because you don't want the pendant hanging off the end of the island for sure.
Right.
I would say you'd want at least 6 inches of it coming in, but you don't want them stuck together too close together either. So there's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Before you go ordering your lighting for your kitchen, pay very close attention to the size and really get in the space. And if you can't, even like with a tape measure, or figure out exactly what you're working with, because
Yes.
we've ordered them sometimes, and I get them into the kitchen, and we go, well,
Uh-oh.
I guess these ones are going in my storage unit, and we're gonna use those somewhere else because they're just
Yeah,
too
for
big
sure.
or too small, and
Well,
um,
we on our kitchen drawings, we always draw the pendants into the kitchen
mhm,
at the exact pendants we're picking, whether it's our custom jobs or Stoffer Home Cabinetry jobs, because we don't want people to make these mistakes.
right, yeah.
Because I've made those mistakes.
Yeah, we all have. And I think
Yeah.
it's crazy how important that light fixture, how important it is when you take that final look at the design.
Yeah.
What's over the island is right there.
Huge. It's just huge. Yeah.
So this might, I'm not sure how many full house remodels you're doing, but uh, windows, white windows or black windows?
Oh, black. Because I have to choose only one, right?
You have to pick.
Yeah, black. Because I think it most resembles like old steel casement windows.
Yeah.
And we work in a lot of old homes, and so I love that look.
This is on, so I guess I'll do it as this or that. White trim or mixing in a color?
Can I have a third option here?
Nope.
I love doing trim the same color as the walls.
Wow.
So
Okay.
whatever the wall color is, that's what we like doing the trim color.
Really? So carrying the wall color right through. So the
Yeah,
whole room is the same color.
right. We
And then
change the
really
sheen.
really change the sheen and then let the window pop.
Yeah,
Okay. So you do like gray, gray wall, change the sheen, gray trim, and then let the black window be the pop.
yes,
Not a
yes,
third color.
right.
Wow. Love that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Next one up. This is a tough one. Rug or drapes?
Rug.
Talk to me, because I feel like you work rugs into kitchen designs like no one else. How does that process go of picking something that fits into the design and that really adds to the design? And where should it be located, and just every thought that goes into that choice.
Hmm. Well, a rug in a kitchen, especially in the aisle between, say, the island and the main perimeter, just adds this warmth and texture, a little bit of pattern in a way that nothing else can. And we love using antique rugs because if we figure they've been around for at least 50 years already, then they can manage being in a kitchen. And we also like a lot of pattern and a little bit on the darker side so that we can hide whatever might happen to it in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had an antique runner in my own kitchen for so many years, and I love it. I would never not want it would feel naked to me without it.
Where do you source where do you source these?
We have several sources, and one of our favorites is this man that comes to our shop every couple of months and brings all of his rugs that he had just found in Turkey and asks us which ones we want. And he rolls them out and we pick them. And then then we sell them and then he comes back again.
Is the rug is that going to be something you're going to incorporate into the online business? Are you selling the rugs currently, and are you going to start adding more?
Well, we have them available for sale in our shop.
Yeah.
Brick and mortar. It's difficult because it's a whole thing of how to photograph them and really to the point where people really understand the rug and
Mm-hmm.
everything that's going on in it because these are old rugs.
Do you
And
think
you
it's something you
can't
could mass produce though? Like,
like
could you try? And obviously, it wouldn't be old, but those type of colors, and is that
oh
something that you could distribute?
yes, I think so. And we've been talking about that. Yes. Yes, I think we could.
Yeah, I think that'd be something that's not in the marketplace, and I think if that was something you guys were distributing, I think there'd be a lot of buyers out there.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's I will
for
take that under advisement. I like that tip.
so last one, guys. We've got over 50 questions, so we'll try to get to all of them. Keep sending them in. Last one: backsplash, tile or slab?
Yes.
Well, let's run through the pros and cons of each and why someone should consider tile, mosaic, or a slab.
Okay. Generally, I'm not going to be into mosaic for a backsplash. I just feel like it's too much grout. It's too much maintenance for a backsplash. Um, I love a slab behind a stove just because it's just so easy to clean and it's such a great look. And since it's usually a taller backsplash
Hmm.
behind the stove because you need to get the hood up higher and have more clearance, then you can see much more of the stone. And so I think that that's so beautiful. But I love mixing tile and slabs in the same kitchen because um, tile adds an interesting texture with the grout lines and it can create a pattern without being a pattern, really.
Hmm. All right, let's get to some of these questions.
All right.
Um, First up, secret spices. How do you marry classic and modern styles into a kitchen?
Well, I think that the best way to stay classic is for the cabinetry to be very classically designed, like the Stoffer Home Cabinetry line. Just that classic, simple, flush and set, um, restrained lines. And then throwing in something modern like a great light fixture that's unique, modern, um, that would be my way of doing it.
Okay. Another question. So, can you explain flush inset?
Yes, I can.
Because I think that you and I think the masses might not understand the specifics. So, talk about flush inset and what that
Okay.
actually is.
Okay, I might take you
Let's.
somewhere.
Well, we have a
Oh,
bunch of questions. Show me your
okay.
kitchen.
Okay,
We have no
quickly.
no. Show us your kitchen.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Flush inset is when the drawer or the door close into the cabinet frame. And overlay, which is the other way of building, is when the door or drawer lay on top of the face frame of the cabinetry.
So yeah, if you want to show us, and then we've got
Yep.
other questions. They want to see your kitchen. So let's do a
Okay.
little. Let's do it. We got 5 of those questions. So let's do a
Okay.
tour.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. All right. I'm going to show you flush inset. This drawer opens and closes into the frame.
Yeah.
I don't have an example of overlay, so I can't.
What's the finish on that cabinet right there?
Uh,
Is that a matte?
okay.
Is that a matte or?
It's a satin paint. It's our London gray for Stoffer Home Cabinetry. It's a really like gray blue,
Hmm.
but it's a really satin, almost velvety kind of finish. And it's a catalyzed finish, so it's extremely durable too. Washable, durable.
Great. And then yeah, what else? Let's see the rest of the kitchen.
Okay, all right, here we go. Here's the coffee bar, which it's getting dark here, so um, all right. This is the view that a lot of people are familiar with, I think.
Yes.
And what I've got here is what's interesting is that this was the only place in the house I was able to go up and grab attic space and give a vault to the ceiling. Everywhere else I had to stay at our ceiling height is 99 inches. So I thought I would play that up by putting the range alcove right in line with where that goes up. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I did the range alcove here, and I'm always on a budget. So I'm trying to think of ways always to do things that look expensive and look really custom, but use really inexpensive materials. And so I found some 12 by 24 Carrera marble tiles and had them cut into strips here, and then used molding that I actually found at Home Depot
Mm-hmm.
to make like a picture frame around it so it looks like a custom carved stone surround. But then I splurged on this slab
Right.
because look at it. I
Beautiful.
mean,
And
it's
Is that
amazing.
le is that leathered countertop under it?
It is. It is. It's got such a great texture, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, everyone who's watching, there's leather. You can get leathered. There's also leathered quartz now, but there's leathered granite. You can get
Yep.
almost any material as a leathered option, and it just gives it a lot more texture.
But not too much. Like it's
Right.
like some people say, "Oh my gosh, will my food get caught in there?" No.
No. Yeah.
No, but it makes it easier to care for it because it doesn't like polished granite, you clean it and you can still see like smears from just your cleaning. Honed is better, but it's still like you can see grease and things. Leathered, or other people call it suede, just kind of takes all that away. Any other questions, or should I?
Yeah. No, just keep going. Let's see the.
Okay. I so one thing that's really cool is that all of our interiors are walnut
Mm-hmm.
walnut
Is that on
dovetail.
is that on every kitchen, or is that an add-on to the design?
Well, this is a standard for Stoffer. It's the only option for Stoffer
Okay.
Home Cabinetry,
Yeah.
and then it is one option on the custom cabinetry. We can do, oak, quarter sawn oak, um, walnut. I think on a painted cabinet, the walnut is just gorgeous. I love it.
I see you mixed in some flat panel and some shaker. What was the decision on that when you were going through this kitchen?
Yeah. I love drawers, generally speaking, flush, that's what a flush drawer is. It's just one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, I like that look. I think it's really clean. You can put any kind of hardware on it and it makes it look great. You're not competing with panels to put your hardware on it. But sometimes I think it's really cool to add in a little detail. So I did that here in the island with these two bottom drawers and gave them a little flush panel or, recess panel.
Mm-hmm.
But I, generally speaking, always like to have flush top drawers just because this dimension is not big enough to put in a panel and put a piece of hardware that looks good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Another feature that I like using in our custom jobs is this drip ledge underneath a farm sink. I think that is a really sweet detail. And because farm sinks, like in this case, you can see that this has a radius here, and we want to pull where the radius is all the way out in front of the cabinet, not stuck back in there. But then it looks a little funny hanging out just on its own. So we add this little drip ledge and it all of a sudden looks like it was always meant to be like that. Another thing that people really like a lot is this refrigerator and how we integrated this antique mirror glass into the panel.
That's the refrigerator?
Yes, it is.
All right, let's see this.
You're going to see, well, there's me. But yeah, there we go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And what brand is that?
That's a Sub-Zero. In fact, this kitchen was a finalist in the last Sub-Zero Wolf kitchen design contest. No, it wasn't the last one because it was 2 times ago. I was actually a judge in the last one.
And
Time's getting away from me.
It didn't win?
It won. No, it didn't win the global award. I thought it should. I couldn't believe it didn't.
You didn't have our helps to get the votes.
No, I didn't. Let me show you. Let's see. I'll come around this way. We're in here literally all the time. I love this.
Let's talk about the island. Wow. So going with
Okay.
a wood island. Something that people ask all the time, like, should I go with a wood island? Should I go butcher block? The maintenance, should I be scared? Is the upkeep going to be exhausting? Talk to us about the wood
Uh,
island.
yeah. Well, I don't recommend a wood island for a wood top for a lot of people, because it is wood. So it's going to get, things are going to happen to it. And like you put a hot pot on there, it's going to make a white mark. You you cut on it, you have a cut mark. And so my husband and I, it's all of our kids are grown, and even though we have our kids here a lot and their kids, there is now 18 of us.
Wow.
Um, we have 4 kids. They're married, and between they have 8. We have 8 grandchildren, 5 and under, by the way.
Wow.
So it's
That's
kind of
ha that
crazy
has
in here
that
when
has to
they're
be
all
some fun
here.
holidays.
Yeah, it's very fun. But I could see how this would be. I love it. It's really it's now been here 4 years, so uh, it's kind of cool because you can always fix it if anything goes wrong. You could really go out and sand it and redo it, but um, most people use their island for all kinds of things, and they just don't want the worry of wood.
Yeah,
And it would be a worry. I mean, you have to use trivets, you have to use cutting boards. It's just so.
great. All right. Well, let's keep going through these questions. Don't
Okay.
want to keep you all night here. So, um, uh, what's the best kitchen arrangement that you recommend? So, I guess from laying out the appliances, it's hard without seeing the space.
I really don't have I don't think there's a best. I think if there's a best for each particular kitchen, but there's not a standard best.
Um, Ash Lily asks, what cabinet colors would you consider timeless, and which ones are too trendy?
Hmm.
So we kind of talked about this earlier, but
Hmm. Well, I feel like the color like I have in my own kitchen, this light taupe, is timeless. Um, we call it Kensington taupe. I I mean, I've had it in one kitchen or another for years. Um, I feel like I feel like um, a darker muddy grayish blue or darker muddy greenish gray would always look good. Just I think if it's toned with maybe some gray or brown, it helps a lot. It's the clear colors, I think, that are maybe more trendy.
yeah, I think you have to pay close attention to finish as well.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
where you see mistakes on so many designs is when the color actually could have worked and then they picked the wrong finish. So
Oh yeah.
pay
Yeah.
attention to that when you're selecting the color.
Yes, I understand.
Um, how do you decide when to run cabinets all the way to the ceiling or to leave a gap above them?
Hmm. Sometimes that's just budget driven. Running cabinets to the ceiling in a 10-foot ceiling is expensive. And it's really pretty, and I often love that, but it's a budget item. Sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah.
So, um, but we like, as we talked about earlier, I love to do beams. And so the interaction with beams and cabinets that go to the ceiling is something that we really pay a lot of attention to. And so that plays into all that mix.
Yeah. Um, yeah. BSA Tori asks, is it okay to see the kitchen from the front door? I have a 1920s bungalow style home.
I think the answer is yes, depending on what part of the kitchen you're seeing. If it's the kitchen sink, I would say that's not a good place for it. But you can put beautiful things in a kitchen and you open your front door and look at this beautiful thing. It's a winner. I have no problem with that. I think it's great.
Um, S. John XOXO asks, cabinet color design ideas to go with the new black slate appliances.
Ah, okay. I think maybe a charcoal gray could look really cool.
Hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I think
Like
a
that.
natural oak could be amazing. Yeah.
Uh, Abadale candles. My fiance and I clash on how our home looks. Oh boy. Now
Well, that's so unusual.
you're getting into now. I didn't sign up for any counseling on this interview. Um, she likes boho, and I like modern industrial. Any tips on how we can mix these two?
Oh my gosh, we have had at least two couples with this exact situation.
So explain both designs. I guess explain for the people watching what is what is boho, and then obviously most people understand modern, but explain modern industrial as well.
Okay. I'm going to start with modern industrial. So I think industrial things are like exposed materials that you would find in an industrial situation. So like steel, glass, maybe old reclaimed wood, galvanized pipe was a big thing for a while. People are using galvanized pipe for shelving and things. Industrial looking lighting, more like factory type lighting, which you'll see. I mean, we have some of that in our shop over our island.
Mm-hmm.
So that's industrial modern. The boho is like more anthropology kind of um, uh, like, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Flowy
Artsy,
and
like yeah.
artsy and yeah, unique things. And I think do that with art and do that with maybe a really interesting, like I think you can do some boho on the like a stool or something. But I think boho is trendy enough that you don't want to put it in something, invest it in something very deep that's going to be really hard to change. And
Uh,
actually, I feel the same way with industrial modern,
yeah.
seriously. So I would say let those things be just points of interest in a few places instead of building a design around either one of them. Let them be the um, accessory, sort of.
Um, Met Furman asks, how do you feel about painting the interior window panes black? I'm sure yours are actually black panes.
Mine are painted black. And I love the idea. And I think that if you only paint the sash, which is like the moving part only of a window, black, and then leave everything else the color of the room, it's amazing.
Um, let's see, Priskel B7s. Do you only do entire kitchen products, entire kitchen projects, or can you renovate a custom kitchen and make it better?
Like a facelift.
Yeah.
Um, Not unless it's part of a much larger project for us personally. Yeah.
Um, J Mel 119. What is the most challenging part of your business?
Well, most everything that we do is custom made. Almost everything. And so engineering it making sure it works into our client's budget, having it made and having it all end up at the job at the right time, and then coordinating with each contractor on each job to make sure they install it correctly. I would say of all that, correct communication and diagramming is probably the hardest but the most important part of our job.
UCLA Bruegel asks, can you teach online classes for me to join?
Never thought of it.
You've got one customer.
I have one customer. UCLA
Bruegel.
Okay.
Who else would sign up for a design course?
Yeah, who else would? What would we talk about?
Let us thumbs up. Let us know in the comments. Maybe we've got another business here. Ricky, are you saving this? Want to watch this later? Yes, we will. We will record this. We'll put it up on our YouTube, and then we'll save this into our story. Paul A. So I guess yes, right?
You know what? The screen stopped for a minute, like it froze. So what's the question?
So it came from Paul AM0241. Does your company work in New Jersey?
Yes. We've completed 3 projects in New Jersey.
So nationwide?
Yeah.
Nationwide.
Well, yeah, you have to be kind of near an airport.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of show us your kitchens. We took care of those. This is from UCLA again. Gene, do you design mid-century cabinets or only the UK style?
No, we design all kinds. We just chose to go with that UK style for the Stoffer Home Cabinetry line. But since we do custom cabinetry, we do all kinds. Some pretty great stuff, actually.
Intentional Traveler asks, drawer microwave in an island or hidden behind cabinet doors in a tall cabinet?
It's interesting. Microwaves have really changed. Uh-oh. I just went to low power mode. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Does that work?
You're still here.
Okay. People really feel differently about microwaves now, or a lot of people do than they used to. And so fewer and fewer kitchens that we're involved in actually are putting microwaves in predominant places, like customizing them into cabinetry. And instead, they're putting them, a little one, on a shelf inside someplace, whether it's a walk-in pantry or... So I would say just get a cheap one, put it in a cabinet, and close the door on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're seeing it more and more is get the microwave out of the kitchen and hide it away.
Yeah, people are much more using like convection steam ovens to do the kind of work, or speed cook ovens, that are combination microwave convection. And then, of course, you'd want to build those into cabinets because those are actual, like, real appliances.
Chelsea Bernhaus asks, the pros and cons of range alcoves.
There's a con?
She's concerned.
Well, I mean, the only con is that in some kitchens, there's just not a way to fit them in space-wise.
Yeah.
But when there is, I think it's fantastic, because when you're cooking, there are, all these things that happen on the cooktop with steam and with grease and with particles. And the 2 ingredients to managing them are first capturing them and then extracting them. And so it makes it so much easier to capture those particulates when they're in a range alcove, because there's walls all the way around it. So it's easier to capture them, to extract them out. So that's why, and the added bonus of having range alcove is you get these sidewalls where you can put spices if you want to, or oils and vinegars, and you can put a unique countertop inside there that's specific, that works really well for by the stovetop that might not work as well somewhere else, or what you really want to use everywhere else doesn't work so well by the stove. So it gives you the opportunity to switch up your countertops in there.
Jonathan Real Estate asks, how do you feel about concrete for in the kitchen? So I guess it's either as a floor or as a countertop.
A concrete countertop is very interesting, but it's very much of a living surface. So it's going to really change and really patina over time, and that can look amazing or not, depending on how things go down. Concrete floors, I think, in the right application are very cool. We don't do them much because we don't work in those types of homes, but I've seen them and they can be cool.
Yeah. B Payne 1981. Kitchen floors, wood or tile?
I like wood.
Carried throughout.
Yeah.
Linda loves interior. Hi, Linda. Hardware finishes. How do you mix them? Is there rules or no-goes?
I don't really think there's many rules, but personally, I like to, if I'm going to mix two tones, like a brass tone and a silver tone, or gold tone and silver tone, like I have here, I like to have one be polished and the other be not polished.
Great. Tax List W asks, building custom, all white cabinets and a black marble island. Help! Would love your thoughts.
Black marble countertop on the island, maybe?
Yeah.
That's going to be probably a fancy kitchen.
Yeah, I think from my first reaction, you've got a lot going on there.
Yeah.
TK, the white kitchen, the black marble island, anything like that's going to be, there's a lot
It's
of
like
design.
high contrast.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be, I mean, if it's a modern situation, that's probably great.
Okay.
Just, really dramatic opposing colors and.
P Sash-91 asks, what about a peninsula in a kitchen?
Peninsula?
Yeah.
I've taken out a lot of peninsulas in kitchens, and in certain circumstances they're good because someone wants a division between, let's say, the breakfast area and the kitchen, but oftentimes it impedes flow, so I prefer to not use them.
So would you say if you don't have room for an island, just go with nothing, or a peninsula? Because I think a lot of people, I know from our standpoint, I'd love putting in islands. I love islands. But a lot of times we don't have the space where it's like there's just not enough space to have 45 inches on both sides.
Yeah.
And so in that case, we only have an option for a peninsula.
Well, I think if that's the case, that's nice.
Yeah. Donna Mary Arizona asks, Donna Marie Arizona, what about a table in the kitchen or built into the island?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea. I just, there's something that feels very comfortable about that to me.
Yeah,
So,
we're doing our first one right now where we're doing a high island with seating, dropping it down into running the slab down and continuing it at kitchen height.
Cool.
So I've never seen it done, but we're doing it, and it's got, with 6 seats around the lower portion. And I think that's like, it's going to be a cool way to mix in bar seating and 4 to 6 seats in a small kitchen where we don't have space for a dining room table.
Yeah. Cool.
It's all in one space, and it's more of a family style, so you need a table.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so I got We got so many more. We'll run through a few more of these. Let's see. I'm gonna pop them up here.
Okay.
So what are some new trends we might see in the next few years?
Um, okay, so we are on sort of this kick of trying to do away with recessed cans, but you've got to make up the light somehow. So we have been finding that more and more manufacturers are making these tiny flush mounts, like 4 inches in diameter or 4 inches square.
Like little LEDs.
Yes, with dedicated LEDs in them, yes.
Yeah.
And some of them are so pretty, so beautiful. And so I hope that there's a trend. We're pushing it. We're doing it in our own projects where we don't use the cans and instead use those tiny flush mounts.
That's cool. Let's see. Is it expensive to have cabinets refinished? Is it worth it?
I don't know the answer to that because I'm not involved in that.
Yeah, I think it really depends. If you really have solid cabinets that are in great shape, it's definitely worth going through the process of having them refinished. If they're not a high quality cabinet, they're not going to take well to a sand and they're not going to be refinished well. So if you have solid cabinets, solid wood that are in really good shape, can be worth it. Otherwise, rip them out and order some Gene Stoffer
That's
custom
right.
cabinets.
The thing is, like, a lot of times old cabinets, they might be good wood, but all of the drawer mechanisms and everything are old
Right.
and aren't functioning as well, anywhere near as well as the new systems.
So, what would you typically charge to design a kitchen without selling the cabinets, or is that something that you guys do?
Well, what happens if we go with the Stoffer Home Cabinetry line and have that $1,500 design fee? If you then don't purchase the cabinets from us, then if you buy them from us, we apply that towards the cabinetry purchase. If you don't, it's our fee.
We've got
But
a
for
ton of questions.
custom stuff is a different situation.
We had a bunch of questions regarding the ordering the cabinets through your design. What's the range in price? Just so people want to understand. So what's,
Yeah.
on the low end, the small kitchen, and then where does it range typically for a kitchen if someone was to order it for their home?
Well, we just recently did a whole study on this. Like, what is the average kitchen range for all these projects that we're doing Stoffer Home Cabinetry? And it's between $24,000 and $28,000.
Okay. Yeah, so is that all in everything, countertops
No,
or
it's
just
just the
cabinets?
cabinetry.
Just cabinets.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is the best for kitchen lighting? Where do you where do you recommend buying kitchen lighting?
I highly recommend stofferhome.com because we have curated this whole line of fixtures that are particularly beautiful in the kitchen, and they're all there, and we show pictures of what they look like in kitchens, of the kitchens that we've done, so you can really get a feel for its scale and how it goes into a room. But there's some beautiful pieces there.
Do you have a program that you use for your designs? This is coming from Nicole Marie Home Designs.
We use AutoCAD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I don't speak Spanish. If I did, I'd answer your question. Dean, do you speak Spanish?
I do not.
Okay, we won't share that one then. Hi, can I mix white shaker with a walnut island in a coastal home? Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then same with different door styles. We do it.
Do it. Beautiful.
Ooh, here's a good one. Is there a way to mix two different wood colors into a kitchen? I guess into an open floor plan. I guess into a kitchen.
Like, let's say this person is asking this question about cabinets.
We'll talk about
To,
cabinets. So can you go like a dark wood island with light wood surround?
I don't think I would do that. But there, like over at our Madison project, we have a dark oak floor and white oak, natural oak cabinetry on the perimeter. That works great. But I don't know if I would do two different cabinetry finishes in wood stained.
Looks like so. I don't know if I messed. So the question regarding the trade program was, do you like? I guess someone's saying, do you offer like someone can come work for you, like internships or like a trade program in your company?
Uh, every
Not
so
yet.
often. Every
Okay.
so often we do. Yes.
Um,
In fact, I just hired the intern that I had last summer. I hired her to come on full time when she graduated in June.
Favorite faucet brand to use?
Hmm. Um, we ha I think Kohler has a really beautiful line of faucets. I love Perrin and Rowe. And the third company, but they're really pricey, but I just love them, is Waterstone.
Um, any must do's for my small kitchen?
Huh. Um, I don't know how to answer that. Get out.
I mean, I think the keys is in your a small kitchen design is you need to think of really first thing is the functionality of the appliances, and then off of that, try to enhance as much as you can, thinking about the fridge and where everything else is going to be. And you just try to enhance the design as much as you can, and not make it all appliances. But
Yes.
it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. The appliances should be sized to the kitchen.
Um, All right, these a bunch of these we've answered. Let me see. We'll do a couple more, guys. So if I missed you, we can always take some DMs later. Um, this is a great question. I need a designer. How do I go about hiring one?
If you want to stay local, I would just ask around. If there are people that you know have done kitchens recently or, home design recently that you like the end result, ask who that was. But more and more designers are working nationally now. And so look on Instagram, and you can find out so much on Instagram because of stories and so forth. You can really get to know someone, I think. And you can find out if you would mesh with them personality wise. And then they probably have a whole process of how you would inquire about using their services. And then you'd start a conversation and find out if it works, you know.
Yeah, I think Instagram is awesome. It takes someone and it gives you them credibility based on the fact that they've been on here for years presenting their
Right.
work and all that stuff. So I think
That
Instagram.
that is one thing though that I think is really interesting because you would have to really find out if the work that you're seeing on their feed is their work,
Right.
because a lot of designers, post all kinds of work. They will always credit it, usually, whose work it is, but before call that person, find out if the work that you're looking at is their work or
Right.
just work that inspires them.
Here's a good question from TDP Spot 5. What's your average thickness for a kitchen countertop? And like in general, let's talk about countertop thickness. Do you change? Because there's so many thicknesses you can do. You can double them up. What are you doing in your designs?
Well, the most readily available natural stone thickness is 3 centimeter, which is like an inch and a quarter. But I'm starting to kind of get my mind around doing some interesting things with 2 cm, which is about 3/4 nominal. And I think it's kind of interesting. You can And then you can use that material for backsplashes easier or for
Mhm.
turning around, mitering the corners and doing interesting things with it. So I'm kind of getting into the 3/4
Yeah.
2 cm.
Yeah, I'm loving the thin countertops trend right now. I think
Yeah.
it's big right now, and I think it's gonna last. I think it gives a really clean look to the kitchen when it still pops, but it's not that you don't have that huge face that's
Yes,
breaking
you
up
know
the
what?
design.
It ends up looking more like fine furniture because you
Yeah.
don't see furniture with these big, chunky, I mean, you do in some cases, but older fine furniture, you don't see the top being real thick. It's thinner.
Um, all right. Well, so that we've gotten to a ton of questions. I want that we'll end it with that.
Okay.
Um, and everyone who's watching, make sure to go follow Gene Stoffer Homes, right? Gene Stoffer,
Jean Stoffer Design.
Gene Stoffer Design. And you can any questions that we didn't get answered. I'm sure. Uh, give her a follow and send them over directly to her. She can get back to you. Send them to us. We're happy to answer any questions. Make sure you check out her website. And we'll do another post later featuring some of these awesome things we've talked about throughout this interview. But thank you for joining us. You have anything else you want
Yeah.
to finish up with?
Thanks so much for having me.
This has been
It's
awesome.
it's nice to have in a place when at a time where a lot of us are kind of stuck